welcome to Soul Symbols. My name is Shelley. I'm a writer, an astrologer, and a card reader, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Happy Tuesday. It is How to Tarot Tuesday. What that is every Tuesday we post a video here where we talk about one of the 78 card tarot. The first half of the video we talk about the meaning and the symbolisms in the card, and then the second half of the video you, the viewer, get to choose from one of 3 tarot decks, and we'll go ahead and do a quick spread to see how this card is manifesting in your life. Now, the first deck is always the Rider-Waite and the second and third decks are chosen by me based on the imagery, as I think that I choose the decks to show the cards that I think best represent the card in question, the one that we're discussing. I always clarify the read using an oracle deck, and all of the names and the authors of the decks that I use, as well as the timestamps, are listed in the description box below. If you, at any time you want to skip over the how-to part, please go ahead and click the timestamp. You can go straight to choosing your deck or straight to your pile. So today we got a very fun card. Today we're going to be talking about a really celebratory card. So this is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a joyous one. And after having just come out of the holiday season, I think this will be a fun card to describe. But we're going to talk about the Three of Cups. Now, when you see the Three of Cups, you see three women holding up a cup in, like, as if they're giving a toast. The 3 women have different clothes on. They're all wearing, like, it looks like they have foliage. One has foliage in her hair, and they look like they're dancing in a circle. When you look at their feet, they look like they're in movement, like in a synchronicity. And when you look at the background, you see a lot of fruits and vegetables, which are like a sign of harvest. The women are holding up the cups, each with one cup in their hand, and they look like they're in a circular pattern, like in unison with one another. So the Three of Cups is a very joyous card. In appearance, you see 3 different people, 3 different women, and they're all holding up one cup. So it's kind of like they're holding up, if you watch the How to Tarot on the Ace, it's like they're holding up their cup. And when you hold up a cup, it's like holding up your emotions. It's like, not only giving your cup to somebody, but holding it up in exaltation. So, the first thing that we see when we think of the Three of Cups is we think of celebration, right? It's about being exuberant. It's about celebrating your emotions or letting your emotions be seen freely. Last week we talked about the Two of Cups, and the Two of Cups is more romantic in the sense that you're letting someone see your emotions, or you're being open emotionally with someone. And here you see 3 women, which, and not to stereotype, the Rider-Waite was created at the turn of the century. So yes, a lot of the more emotionally sharing kind of cards tend to depict women. But this definitely, and as you see it, as we go through the decks, you'll definitely see this pertains to men as well. It makes no difference your gender, but it's just, the difference, the contrast between the two is 2 people, which is like a love relationship, exchanging emotions. And here you've got 3 people, which are, it's almost like being in a group, right? And we'll get to that in a minute. It definitely talks about community. But it's just about, when you look at it, you see somebody being joyful, right? So a lot of times it's a joyful occasion. It's like bursting with energy, or just, feeling really like fun-loving, right? So a lot of times I do see this card because each person, again, it's like each person is holding up their ace, holding up one cup that is their cup. I do kind of, this card is definitely associated with having fun in a group. It can be, because cups can be a sharing of emotions, it can be a group of friends, or it can be a group of family members. A lot of times, because it's, it's about uniting with others, and gatherings. Because it is cups, it can definitely be like a happy hour. What I also see here is that I usually see it as being a group, if it is a group of friends, and we'll get to that in the second deck, but if it is a group of friends, it's sometimes a group of creative friends or somebody that you have like interests with. So very easily, like this can also be that creative group, like say you and your crochet group gets together every Wednesday at the coffee house, right? So cups don't necessarily just have to be like alcohol. They can be, it can be coffee cups, or you going over, like if you go over to your friend's house and they offer you refreshment, like they say, do you want a cup of tea? Do you want a cup of lemonade? It is kind of like gatherings like that, like you going over and hanging out with your besties, right? Um, it is about celebration, in a sense, like maybe you are getting together to celebrate. It can very well be work parties, or it can be like a birthday party. If you see the Three of Cups next to the Nine of Cups, a lot of times it can be a surprise birthday party, or some kind of surprise, like if you something that you don't expect. It can be the celebration of something like an engagement, or a what do you call it? A baby shower. And any place that you would go and gather and dance and have fun. I definitely see the Three of Cups as being the going to the bar, or back when times were normal, going to the club. Because when you look at the feet of the women, it definitely looks like dancing, right? It's definitely about movement and again, just having fun. I love seeing the Three of Cups come up in a reading, because maybe like if you watch the weekly energy card reading, sometimes the beginning of the week is really laden down with work, or you might see a Ten of Wands, Ten of Wands card come out, and then by the end of the week you see the Three of Cups. So what that tells me is, okay, that kind of tells me that it's work hard, play hard. If you ever see that kind of combination, or either that, or if maybe you've had a really long work week, then all of a sudden you get together with your friends or your family and you really kind of have some fun, or you let off some steam on the weekend. It can be about singing or dancing. Like if you are an actual singer, or if you play in a band, it can be that kind of environment. With that, I do think that the Three of Cups is more observing than actually, playing the music. But this could be going to a concert for sure, or going to any type of event that is done for enjoyment. It can definitely be hobbies, again, because the emotions is what you love. And hobbies can be anything. If you see this next to swords, it can be writing. If you see this next to pentacles, it can be woodwork, or something that you do in collaboration with other people. I also see this card in a modern context as being the kind of meetup groups, like maybe you get together with other like-minded people. The other thing is that it can be real hospitality. Like, again, it can be, getting together with people that you like, or being invited to a party of somebody who is like-minded. Or the other thing I get is someone who knows how to throw a good party. So it could be you, or you could be going to someone else's house. But, and just like I said, coming out of the holiday season, you might, I know if you're in North America and you're watching this at the time the video posts, we've been very good with social distancing. But maybe if you've been quarantining with your family, if you know somebody who really did a nice job at Christmas, or maybe you're celebrating at home with your family. Now, the second deck I went with was the Linestrider Tarot, and we've actually seen this card quite a bit in the weekly energy card read, and I just thought it was so great. I really kind of knew ahead of time that this was going to be in the How to Tarot. But you see three different animals. And the irony that's so funny is that there's like a sloth, and there's like, I think this is a baby donkey, and then like, I think this is like a goat, and they're all wearing party hats, and I just think that's so great. So again, just like we said, maybe you're good. This can be the sign actually when we get into people. It's just, like-minded people. I definitely see this, especially in this context, I see it as being a card of your posse or your group. If in a TV sense, like it would be, you think of like Sex in the City, right? You think of companions who are like different from you, like all three of these animals are different, but you know how to come together and celebrate, like you have fun together. One other show that I always think of is, if you've ever watched that HBO, it's a little bit old now, it hasn't been on for a while, but if you watch, what is it? Entourage. I always think of that like the guys, like it's your posse, like, right? Like it's your best friends. It's the people who know your heart. The other thing that I get is that these are the people that you're not afraid to get loose around, right? These are the friends who have probably seen you inebriated, right? But the other thing that I get is it is really about trusting others and relying. Like this group of people know each other, and they know each other's emotions, and they also know how to make each other happy, which you see in all of these cards. It's almost like they complement one another. The other thing is that you can be real different, but it's like you're of one heart, or you know how to party together. So again, it's like a collaborative group of people. Now, one other way that you can see this is, I do see it as like just happiness, like a real joyous moment. Again, maybe it's the moment that you announce to your friends that you're going to be a parent, that you're pregnant or your wife is expecting, and everybody lights up cigars. It can be when a baby's born. It can be when someone's graduating from high school or college. Because, it was interesting. My grandmother was so proud of me when I graduated high school. And at the time, college was the more coveted kind of degree, but she was super proud. She flew from Florida to where I live to watch me graduate. And I did have a lot of honors in high school, like I got, I was accelerated in my English degree, and I got extra accolades. But, it can be that, it can be family members celebrating your accomplishments. The other thing that I get is that it's kind of freedom from want. It's almost like feeling that celebration. I do see this as very much an abundance card. Like the Nine of Cups is abundance in almost an exaggerated sense, but the Three of Cups, because it has the balance between people. The other thing that I kind of see is sometimes that sharing between people, like everybody is okay, everybody has enough, right? I actually it's really cute. I got kind of a gag gift. It wasn't even a gag. It was just kind of like a cute gift. It wasn't intended to be like a real Christmas present, and it was Legos. It was a Lego set, and it was funny. I didn't have the heart. The person who gave it to me knew that I probably wasn't going to keep it, but I didn't have the heart to just give it to the thrift store or something. So I called one of my friends. I chatted up one of my friends whose their son loves Legos, and I sent a picture, and I said, hey, would your son like this? And she was so excited. And so I kind of feel like that. It's like abundance that you share. Like, my cup is overflowing. Would you like this? Okay. And it's like that sharing you do between friends where you always all have enough. It can be a celebration of harvest. Maybe you got a promotion at work. Maybe the other thing that I kind of get is if you are a farmer or if you work for a vineyard. I know that's a kind of a stretch scenario, but that can definitely be it. The celebration of a really good revenue. Maybe you exceeded your quota at work. Or the other thing I get is sometimes if you're being recognized at work for good, you're invited to the banquet, invited to a rewards brunch or something like that. A lot of times it is sharing good times with others, like when I always see, one of my dear friends got married probably about 4 years ago, and I was so lucky to be invited to their wedding, and they had the most beautiful vows that I'll never forget these vows for as long as I live. But they looked into each other's eyes, and it was both their second marriage. They're older, and but it was the most beautiful ceremony. It was so cute. The bride came down the aisle to the song "Going to the Chapel." Go into the chapel and gonna get married. And she was so, she looked glorious. She was the most beautiful bride I've ever seen. And then it was so cute that the groom came down the aisle in a fedora and sunglasses to like a surfer song. And it was just so great. It was such high energy. But for as sweet as those songs were, when they came to their vows, they looked into each other's eyes, and the groom, they exchanged the same vows. And he said, you know, the groom looked at him, the bride, and said, "Your joy is my joy. Your sorrow is my sorrow." And I think of that, and it's amazing how that sticks out in my head. When I see the Three of Cups, your joy is my joy, right? So sometimes when you see this next to Swords, sometimes it can be like maybe your friend, and especially this last year, you know, with all of us doing, I know of at least 2 couples that had to either postpone a wedding or had to do a social distancing wedding where you had to watch virtually. And it was still wonderful, right? And so sometimes when you're sharing joys, like maybe if you watch the video of someone's child, your best friend's child taking their first steps, or when you see that Facebook post when one of the little ones loses their first tooth, or you know, or learns to ride a bike, or all of those memories that you just share together as a community is really, really important. Now, the other thing that I kind of get from this is that the community part of it as well, especially with the Rider-Waite-Smith, is that it can be community sharing. Like maybe you're on a community board, maybe you're really close to your neighbors. The other thing that I get is that I kind of get like community festivals. Like the city I grew up in had a fall festival, still has a fall festival, and I always have such a good time. I actually go with my best friend and we play bingo. And we always joke there are lucky bean markers because they have beans, like real beans that you use to play bingo. And it's a thing. It's totally a thing. But and I feel that Three of Cups, you have such a good time, and you're with your friends. But it is about being neighborly. You know, like cooperating in a group, being of the same heart. Maybe your neighbor does something really nice for you. Like I know my mom is so cute. She's always very close to her neighbors, and they take care of. They're near a lake, and they take care of the ducks. Like all of the neighbors, her and her neighbors, they go take turns feeding the ducks. So it can kind of be like that. You know, celebrating together. One other thing that I do see is that it can be neighborly in the sense like when someone's holding up a cup, I kind of think of like, and again that you know, if you need something, lean on me. So I do think of this, and it's a little bit of an antiquated kind of reference, but you know how when you go to the neighbor and ask to borrow a cup of sugar or a cup of milk or, you know, 2 eggs or, you know, I see it as being that kind of camaraderie. It's almost like, okay, you know, my cup is your cup. If you need something, let me know. It can be neighbors. This can also be a sign like maybe you're on vacation and someone's watching your dog or watching your cat or picking up your mail. You know, I do also see, and depending on the context, you know, like this could be neighborhood watch, you know, like maybe you're away from home and your neighbors are on the lookout, you know. But basically it's just adhering to a common goal. And it's that good sense of community where you're really helping one another. Now the other thing is that with the dancing too, it can be and here, let's go ahead and move on to the last deck. And this is my brand new deck. This is the Tarot of the Divine by Yoshitani. And this is really beautiful. This is actually, it shows 3 kind of muses. These are entities. And I'm actually going to read directly from the book because I saw this, and this is a brand new deck. I had no idea this was going to be in the How to Tarot, but I had to do it. But this is actually called Apsara, A-P-S-A-R-A, and it's a Hindu mythology from Cambodia. And it says here, the Three of Cups represents camaraderie and a good time. Apsara are celestial beings of the sky known for dancing, partying, and fornication. The joyous group oversees fertility rites, the performing arts, and the fortunes of gambling. So this bridges right into what we need to talk about, which is with the dancing, because you see dancing and you see the feet moving in both of these cards. This can be about entertainment troupes. So this can be theater. If you've ever seen, my little niece, she was all throughout high school. She was in the thespian group, like she performed plays, and gosh, the emotion that goes into that. I never realized, there is a lot of fire in entertainment, but there's a lot of cups too. It's like you got to feel it. You got to feel it in your jellies, right? To belt out supercalifragilisticexpialidocious backwards with choreography, that's no joke, guys. No joke. But I kind of see that with the dancing. So a lot of times this can be entertainment. It can be like a traveling group. Maybe if you do something like, and again, I do see this in a sense. I saw a really cute video on Facebook where this lady was checking out at Trader Joe's, and at the grocery store, Trader Joe's, it's a whole food store. It's like an organic whole food store. They have great flowers, by the way. But she's checking out, and her little one, who's like a toddler, he's like 2, was having a temper tantrum, like really bad. And you know how embarrassing that is. It's so stressful when you're right at checkout. And it was the cutest video in the world. I'll see if I can find it and post the link. But all of the checkout people, all of the tellers, the cashiers, got together, and it was 3 of them too. They started dancing and singing to get the little guy to get the little toddler to stop crying and to be distracted. And it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. They were clapping and dancing, and they were, and the whole store was just, what it is that if you do that, like in your posse or in your group, if you have that ability to entertain and lift people up, maybe you have a TikTok channel, maybe you have a YouTube channel, knuckle tap, there we go. Whatever you do to lift people up and entertain, that can be 3 of Cups. Because what you're doing is you're connecting to people on an emotional level, and you're doing it with finesse and for entertainment, but it's like coming from your soul, right? It's coming from your cup. Now, the other thing that you can kind of see, and especially if you see this next to the Fool, like stepping off a cliff, this can be that your friends are helping you, right? Maybe you have a friend group that is your emotional support system. It can be your family members, right? But anytime you need emotional help, or it's one of those things, like, again, maybe you're having a hard time, maybe you need someone to watch your child, and someone is there to help you, right? Because remember, all of those cups are equal, right? You scratch my back, I scratch yours. You're my friend, I'm here for you, right? It's your posse, it's your entourage. But the last thing that I get, especially with the muses being there, is that, so it can be, the other thing is it can be finding your tribe. Last but not least, I've found my tribe. Like, it's amazing. I was just thinking here, over on my Instagram and here, I got into tarot in the last 2 to 3 years. I started when I was a teenager, but it's amazing how the community here, the tarot community here, is so freaking wonderful. I can list off, if you watch, I've been trying to follow the same readers that I watch on my personal side, because I have 2 sides, sorry. I have a personal side and soul symbols side. But I try to, any of the channels that I follow on the soul symbols side are the same channels that I follow on my personal sides, and they are all wonderful readers. Wonderful readers. They are so heart-centered, and there are several that I talk to that that we've posted on each other's walls, and or commented on Instagram, and they're such talented, heart-centered, spiritual, and what is so beautiful is that they're so altruistic. They come to this, they do this in the service of others. And my family have always said, we have a tradition in our family, you say, be of service, right? Be of service. And I know tarot gets a little bit of that reputation. It gets a stigma of being woo-woo and out there. But, we take what resonates and we leave the rest, right? We are interpreting symbols. And that, when you see the 3 of Cups, that's what you feel, right? And it can be tarot, it can be your sewing group, it can be your papercraft group, it can be your scrapbooking group, it can be your counseling group, it can be a group of people that, it can be your posse, your entourage, your neighbors, or it can be your good friends or family. But what's beautiful about this being, the muses, it represents camaraderie. So again, camaraderie. But what I thought was neat about this is it talks about the arts, it talks about fertility rites, and it talks about gambling. So, or the benefits of gambling. So definitely the Three of Cups, and in the extreme, and we'll talk more about it in the reverse, but the Three of Cups upright is definitely about partying with your friends. And whether that is a bunch of your girlfriends indulging in a bottle of wine, it doesn't even have to be alcohol. Maybe you drink the tea, maybe you spill the tea, maybe you talk, you get the tea, right? The other thing that I get is that, those friends that you love to go out to lunch with or go out to dinner with. When it comes to guys, I totally think total rat pack here, guys. I do. If you like to go out and gamble, the other thing is that if you do go to, and it doesn't even have to be clubs, if you go out to the restaurant, you go out to the bar, because that's the other thing, is that can be the bar. If you have a wingman or a wingwoman, you got guys that, if you're single, if you're a swinging single, the Three of Cups is definitely about circulating. And the thing is, it's the three, right? It's not even talking about it's not even, it's not the two, so it's not one-on-one. It's you kind of being a free agent, right? The other thing is, if you see it next to cards like the Nine of Pentacles, that's definite free agent, right? But the other thing that you get is that when you walk up to someone at the bar and say, hey baby, can I get them digits? That's a gamble, right? That's a gamble. But you got your friends there to catch you if you face rejection, right? The other thing is, I do get a little bit of liquid courage from this card. Maybe you get a couple beers in you and you're like, okay, let me go talk to that cute guy. Let me go talk to that hot girl, right? The other thing that I kind of get is that maybe you do talk to your friends about, the other thing this can be spilling the tea, where if you are married or in a committed relationship, if you need advice, this can be, the posse that you turn to when you need, the good advice on how to handle a situation. And in that sense, it can also be, a bunch of, your married friends too. Maybe you're newly married and you need some coaching on what to do. But a lot of times it is the friend group. Now, the last thing is that it can be celebration, and we talked about, it can be that lighting up a cigar. Because definitely when I see the Three of Cups, it can be those gentlemen clubs too. It can be those gatherings with your best buds. Maybe you play poker. That's the other thing, gambling. But fertility rites is definitely about that kind of sexuality of flirting. And that's definitely, one sense, if you see this next to the Empress or the Emperor, the Three of Cups can be the celebration of a newborn child, because one cup is father, one cup is mother, third cup is baby, right? And it can also be a celebration of that change in your life, because it's not just the two of you anymore. Your life, it's like that tripod now. You've got your first child, and your world is going to be completely different after that, right? Because that's a change, and your parents for the first time. So that can be the Three Cups there. But the other thing that I kind of get is when you've got Three Cups, and especially in the upright, it can be someone who is not settled down yet, where someone who is actively dating. And so here, this can be the girl posse, hitting on guys. The other thing that I kind of get from this is that if you know how girls we have a reputation of moving in flocks, flocks of birds. The other thing is we like to go to the bathroom together. You know what I mean? Like, if the moment we have a communal in the bathroom, the guys are not dumb. They know that we're in there talking about them, right? The other thing I can get is that sometimes this can be the group of guys talking about girls, because guys gossip just like women do. But, they could be talking about their conquests with women. But the last but not least, with this being fertility, this can most definitely be that you either, if you're a group of girls and maybe one of your girls just got, went through a breakup, you're there as her support system to help her get back out there. Either that, or if she's single and you're trying to help her get a date, same thing definitely goes 100%, 150% for guys. It's like your posse trying to be there for you as you go out, and so you're not navigating the harsh dating world by yourself. But in a more modern sense, if you do see this next to swords, it can be the modern electronic dating, and goodness knows we're probably doing Zoom calls at this point. But the swipe left, swipe right. It can be your friends like acting as your support system, or it can be you having a choice. And especially if you see this next to the Seven of Cups, that usually means that you have a lot of prospects, or you're doing that dance around, like, hey, this one's cute, but we haven't really talked that much, but this one I have a great mental rapport, but she's always busy and I can never get, we never get a chance to go out. Or it's almost like you perusing, you're kind of going in the dance. The other thing is that I, I did a Jane Austen reading, and one analogy, one kind of imagery in the Jane Austen books is that courtship, the act of courting someone, is like a dance. And it's interesting how in the books like Pride and Prejudice, Darcy refused to dance with Elizabeth Bennet, but yet his best friend, Charles Bingley, could easily dance with Elizabeth's sister, Jane, and they were just dancing circles around. So this dance, or the Three of Cups, can be the act of courtship. Now, when it comes to situations, it can definitely mean, it can be the celebration. Again, it can be a baby shower. It could be getting ready for a party. It could be a surprise birthday party. It could be a surprise engagement, or you going to the bar, going to the club, going to your friend's house to have some tea and lemonade. It can be hobby groups. Getting together. It can just mean that there's going to be a favorable time where you feel really like you're with your crew, like you're with your tribe, right? So sometimes when this card comes up in a situation sense, you might think that you're going to have a boring ass weekend. You get the Three of Cups, and before you know it, someone invites you over, someone Skype calls you, and you're just having a good time with your girls. And that just makes you feel a world better. But it can also be renewed health, just like feeling good. Like all of a sudden, you have a good weekend, you go out for a run, maybe you go out with your exercise buddy. And the other thing is that, it can also be, if you see this more in a work context, it can be like a rewards banquet or a rewards brunch, or, getting together for coffee, or talking, or having a real good conversation, like a heart to heart with other people in your group, like a connective, like a team building kind of thing. And it could definitely be over coffee. It doesn't have to be all champagne here. Now, when it relates to people, it can definitely be party goers. It can be hobbyists. It could be those who hold parties, like maybe you're a party planner. It can be the host of a party, or you can have a good time at a party. The other thing is that it can be bartenders, because again, you got drinking and dancing here. So, and the other thing that you can kind of get is that if it comes to people, it usually means that posse who goes with you to the bar to be your wingman, right? It's your entourage, it's your posse, it's your tribe. Now, when you look at the three in reverse, this is where it gets a little bit, you know how they say that excess, anything in excess, right? And anytime a card's in the reverse, it means that it either means that the energy is blocked, or it is extreme in a negative sense, which is by definition excessive. So it usually means too much of a good thing. The first thing that I think of, just to be bluntly honest, because we keep it, we're going to be real, we'll get real here. Because when I see it as a reader, the three usually means like a hangover, or that I kind of see the three being that quick swing to the other extreme. Like maybe you're having a good time. The other thing is that sometimes when you've had one too many drinks, and then you start dancing on tables, and then someone gets a video of it or gets a picture of it, it's almost kind of like the morning after in a really bad sense. It could mean that you party too much. It could mean that you're sick. You got sick from it, and you just, one minute one minute you felt like you were hot stuff, and then the next minute you felt like you were laying with your cheek on a dirty floor, praising the porcelain goddess, right? So, meaning that you were throwing up all night. That's not attractive, and that's usually the extreme. The other thing is that it can be dissipation, like it can be that you're used to partying. Like the other thing is if you see this and kind of like, if you see this next to like the Wheel of Fortune, that can kind of mean repeated cycles, meaning that every weekend it's the same thing. You go out to the bar, you pick up a girl. The other thing that it might mean is because, with the fertility rites, it can be one night stands, no judgment, but you do want to be careful with that. But a lot of times it just means that it's kind of empty. It feels a little meaningless, right? And we've all had those nights. We've all had those nights where you go out and you have a great time. And sometimes it is what it is. It's a great time. You go home, you get to sleep early, and you feel great the next day. You had a good night. But then those bad nights, or, the other thing that I kind of get is that I get it, the partying in extreme, where, like, if you see the Three of Cups in reverse next to the Five of Cups, maybe you go out with your friends to try to forget about a failed relationship. Maybe you got broken up with. Maybe someone really hurt your feelings, or you're using it as escapism, right? That's the Three of Cups in reverse. It's like you're trying to get away, right? You're trying to drown your sorrows, right? And it never, unfortunately, running away from it or trying to evade it with partying, as we all know, with time and experience, that rarely ever works. But that is learned, though. You have to do it too. You have to experience it before you come out the other side. But a lot of times it can be romance that's gone awry. Again, you hit on that hot thing, and before you know it, the other thing that I always get when it's the three is that you thought you could handle like three people at once, like you were talking to two guys, talking to two other girls, and it all of a sudden, things start going to hell in a handbasket real quick. The other thing that I kind of get from this too is that I do kind of see dating in this, especially online dating. If you've ever online dated, it's not easy. It's not easy. The other thing is that there's kind of a zoom to it. When you first start doing it, you might have, five. There's a really cute, please forgive me, this is going to sound totally cheeseball, and it is, don't judge me. But there's a great Hallmark movie called The 9 Lives of Christmas, and don't judge me. It's a good movie. It's a cute movie. It has the actor who plays Superman is in it. But it's about a girl who's training to be a veterinarian. It's total cheeseball romantic movie, but the premise, one of the cute points in the movie is that her best friend tries to set her up on the dating site, and it's called it's based on cupcakes or something. It's called Sweet Dating or something, and you go to a public event and have cupcakes with people, and she sets up the profile for a friend, and she's like, oh look, you've already got 5 happy cupcakes, and that's what I kind of think of with the Three of Cups in reverse. When you start out, you're always going to have 5 happy freaking cupcakes. But as you go date by date, you might have a few bad first dates. You might go on 3 dates and then realize, okay, I'm not really connecting with this person. And then before you know it, it's like in the beginning, it felt like, oh God, I can just, you felt like you were juggling it, like you were handling it, like you were just, hot shit. And then after, part of my cursing, these videos are not made for under 18, but I try not to curse. If you don't like that, please let me know in the comments. But I keep it mild. But it is a little bit of that, getting things spiraling a little bit out of control. Maybe you did strike up a conversation, and then all of a sudden you got 3 people blowing up your phone, and you're just feeling overwhelmed by it. The other thing is that maybe you did go on several first dates that had so much promise, and then before you know it, it just feels like, you feel like you're striking out, and it is like that hangover, like that morning after kind of feeling. A lot of times it can be indulging a little too much. Maybe the other thing it can be is maybe when you hang out with your friends, you always get into trouble. My dad, and the funny thing is, my dad was he was a good partying guy. He understood, but he was always nervous when me and my best friend would go out alone. He's like, "All right, be safe, be good." I'm like, "Okay, why are you afraid?" When it's just me going out, he's fine. When I go out with my best friend, he gets nervous, and it's almost kind of like that. Maybe you get into trouble when you're with your friends if you see this in the reverse next to a specific court card that you know represents one of your friends. It could be a parent, it could be a spouse, it could be someone who's concerned that this person might be a bad influence, or that you end up with that bad morning after every single time, or your friends are, they're partiers, right? It's a slippery slope. The other thing that it can be is that it can be a little bit of promiscuity. Maybe that's the routine, is that you go to the bar, pick someone up, and it's a one night stand. It can be a lot of sex without love. Again, if a lot of times that can be like a numbing. I do kind of see it in a defense of this card in the reverse. It can be numbing. If you really just, the other thing is that can be those real casual relationships. The other thing is that it can be, and again, if it's next to a court card that represents someone, sometimes if you see this next to the Three of Cups in reverse, next to the Queen of Swords, it could be someone that you have to put up boundaries against because they're being this way. They're being like the swinging single. They're being like the, what's his name? Mike Myers' character. The spy who shagged me, let's swing, baby, it's like, okay, go do that with some other chick. That's not me, right? Sometimes it can be that attitude, where I just want to keep things casual. Okay, if someone wants to keep things casual and you're okay with keeping it casual and you're consenting adults, more power to you. But if someone is doing this to you and you do not partake in that kind of behavior, you putting up a boundary and saying, no, I'm not into that, is completely acceptable. And that person can go be, peace be with you. Don't hurt anybody. Go and, do what you got to do. Now, sometimes with this being the Three of Cups, meaning that third, that addition, like the birth of a child, sometimes it can be, if you do see this, the Empress and next to the Empress in the reverse, sometimes it can be difficulties with pregnancy. It can be an inability to have children, or struggling with fertility, like you're trying to get pregnant. Sometimes it can be exploitation, not to sound strange, but sometimes if this represents a person, and we'll get to that in a minute, sometimes this can be the sign of sex work, or going to the bar in that extreme, like maybe you're going to a strip club. Or you have friends who are doing that stag thing, that are taking someone to, you're indulging in that kind of, behavior. The other thing is you could be taking advantage of others. Again, if you're picking people up just for the intent of it being a one night stand, but they think it's more, that can be a sign with this. Sometimes it could be a cancelization of an event, and goodness knows, we've probably seen this card in reverse a million times this last year. We're in pandemic mode if you're watching this at the time the video posts, So a lot of times it can just be a canceled event, or you don't want to go to the party. Maybe the other thing I kind of get is that maybe you're invited to a party where a bunch of people that you do not want to, associate with, you're avoiding it because it's like, God, I don't want to go. Either that, or you could be just a straight up introvert. This can be the sign of an introvert, where you just don't, you don't feel like, going. Sometimes it can be, if you see this next to Justice, it can be a sign that maybe you did just get divorced, and you're kind of wanting to indulge in your freedom, and kind of again in that escapist way, or possibly you had to divorce or separate from someone because they were philandering. They were. The other thing that I do kind of get, and just to throw it out there, is sometimes it can be someone who likes to party too much. Maybe they spend all your money, maybe they're being frivolous with their money going out. It can be a sign of drinking too much, or just, the other thing that I do kind of get is that maybe you have somebody who likes to party, like they like to throw a lot of money, especially if you see this next to a Pentacles card. The cups in reverse, can usually means that you're, sometimes it can be that shopping kind of extravagance where it's like, oh, well, I need, I need all these things for Christmas. I have to make it look this pretty and this perfect. But it's like one-time use items that, spend your rent money. Sometimes it can be someone who likes to go out and party. The other thing is that it can be, a spouse, or it can be your friend, and just to throw it out there as well, is sometimes it can be that friend who always gets themselves drunk to the point that you're always carrying them home. And you worry about their safety because, it's almost like, again, that hesitance. I don't want to go out with this person. They're my friend, but I just know they're going to get, shit-faced, and I'm going to be driving them home. And they do this every single time, right? They do this every single time. Either that, or it can also, if you're in a woman group, and it can be a guy group too, usually more women, but that girl that gets so messed up that any guy will try to take her home, and you have to look out for your friend because she's putting herself in danger. Sometimes it can be just a bad party. Like maybe you had something happen, like and we try not to use this in predictive terms. So if you see the Three of Cups in the future, don't read into it too much. Take, either that or get clarifying cards. But sometimes it can be, if you're asking the question, am I going to have a good time at this party? And you see the Three of Cups in reverse, it might be that thing that maybe, again, we talk about escapism. Maybe you go to a party to try to get out of your blues, but then it just makes you feel that much worse. Either that, or if you do see this next to a card, maybe you just went through a breakup and then you're invited to your friend's engagement party and you're just not ready. You go and it makes you depressed being there. And it isn't that you're not happy for your friend. It's just, it's going to be that blue moment, right? Either that or you go and you just feel real isolated. You don't feel like participating. Sometimes this can be a little bit of a sign of depression where even though you're with your friends, you're with people who are very supportive of you. It's a great party. There's nothing wrong with it. You just don't feel like you're just not in the mood. Sometimes it can be a little poor health, like you just, the other thing I kind of get is that maybe if you're feeling a little under the weather, you're just not up to snuff, and then all of a sudden, you're, hey, come out with me, we're going jogging, we're going here, we're going, my friend's having this party, and you're just like, oh God, I just want to sleep, I just need to drink water, I can't, the last thing that it can be is that sometimes it can be your party, but you're just in a funky mood. If you've ever heard that song, It's My Party, but I'll cry if I want to. So sometimes it can be you just being a little bit of a Debbie Downer. Maybe the party is hype. Maybe everyone's having a good time, but the only one who's weighing it down is you. Again, you might have reasons for that, but a lot of times, it is just kind of that, it can be a little bit of self-pity where you just feel like, everybody's happy but you, right? And it's interesting, the weekly energy card reading that I did that talked about right before Christmas, the week of Christmas, there were two songs that came up that were both kind of sad. One was Mariah Carey's I Miss You Most at Christmas Time. And the other one, which is a very sad song. It does talk about, like everybody's dancing, everyone's celebrating, but I'm not. That can definitely be the Three of Cups in reverse. Now, when it comes to situations, the Three of Cups in reverse can be a wedding that's been called off. Then it can be a situation that, has that was really meant to stir joy, but it causes you pain. The other thing is it can be canceled parties, canceled concerts, canceled closed bars. It can be the closing of like a restaurant or someplace that usually is very joyous. The other thing is that it can be a caution to you, again, in a situation, it could be a caution that you're partying too much, or maybe you're spending too much on decorating or festivities. It can mean that you're being a little frivolous. Sometimes it can mean just too much of a good thing. If in a dating context, it might mean that you're biting off more than you can chew, or that all of the prospects right now are just not the greatest, and that's okay. Sometimes it might mean that you need to take a break and just kind of pull away, especially if you see this next to the Hermit. You might need to just, take a hiatus, and that's okay. It can mean that you're having a trouble in a romantic relationship. Last but not least, the Three of Cups in reverse, and this is very notorious, is that it can most definitely be, and especially if you see the Three of Cups in either in the upright or reverse next to the Three of Swords, it is a notorious third party situation. Which is such a shame because it is such a joyous card. I mean, when you look at it, you think community, you think commonality, you think, being able to rely on those around you, being able to show your true colors to someone else. But in a romantic sense, there are three cups here. And just like with three swords that pierce a heart, it can be that you are, the two cups from the Two of Cups, you and someone else, and that can be a boyfriend, girlfriend. There can mean that there's a third person in the picture. And usually when the Three of Cups is in reverse, it just means that maybe someone is not happy with their current relationship, and so they're bringing in a third party. And so definitely, unfortunately, the Three of Cups in reverse is kind of that three's a crowd. But it's usually because one person is not happy in their current relationship. Maybe they're not getting their emotional needs met, so they're bringing in someone else to fill that role. But it is that juggling, right? And it does mean that something's going to give, right? And if you see this next to the Three of Swords, or if you see this next to the Two of Pentacles, it can mean that someone's juggling money between you and a third party. So unfortunately, for as being as joyous a card as this is, it can definitely mean that too. It can kind of mean emotional infidelity, but with it being cups, it can be, if it pertains to a guy or a girl, it can be that they're entertaining another option, but they're keeping you on the side. So a lot of times it can be the loss of a love interest or something that is about to fall by the wayside, because a partner is starting to become unfaithful. The other thing that I kind of get is with the Three of Cups, especially when it's in the reverse, it's usually the onset of that, like somebody is dating you or married to you, unfortunately, and they start talking to someone else, texting someone else. Maybe they went out to a movie with someone else, and it doesn't, it doesn't even have to be extreme. Maybe they haven't kissed this person, they haven't held hands, they haven't done anything. That's still emotional infidelity, right? The moment you're forming an attachment, you're doing kind of intimately connective things with someone else, but you are committed to another person, that's some straight up Three of Cups, and that's some, part of my French, is some bullshit if you know that you're willingly participating in that and not communicating to the first partner that you're in separation or that your relationship's on the rocks, right? That's playing with fire, and that is indulging, right? That's indulging. That's the other meaning of the Three of Cups in reverse, is having your cake and eating it too. And that's dishonest, and that's usually when I see the Three of Cups in reverse. When the Queen of Swords comes out, that's when usually she's my hero, because that's some crap. But when it pertains to people, the Three of Cups in reverse can be kind of selfish and spoiled people. It can definitely be people who have never really known want. So, it can be that, if you see it next to Pentacles, it can be that person who, crashes their car and then their parents buy them a new one. It can be that person who indulges because they have no boundaries, right? They can indulge because they want to overindulge. It can be someone who drinks a lot. It can be someone who's rich, or, and not even like that, but just someone who has the freedom. And sometimes that can be in a patriarchal or even a feminine way. If you're dealing with a woman who's like, well, I'm dating you, but I'm going to go out and party with my friends, or I'm going to go ahead and spend money however I want to, that's the no boundaries, right? That's veering off into left field, as we say. Sometimes it can be someone who's got an addiction, either to partying or to alcohol or to spending. It can definitely be a spoil sport, again, like we said. It can be someone who everyone's having a great time, and one person kind of just, acts as the the downer. Someone, it can also be someone, if you see this next to a swords in the upright, it can be someone who's speaking the voice of reason. You might have one friend where everybody is getting out of unruly, and one friend kind of stands up and says, we need to stop, we're getting out of control. But a lot of times it is unfaithful lovers and those who are very promiscuous. You know, if you see this next to a court card, especially the wands, for either the king or queen, that's usually someone who's used to playing the field, right? It's someone who's used to. The other thing is that they'll just go right back to the bar. If you call them on their crap, they'll continue to do what they do. So I do kind of see it as a play on player kind of card. But usually in the upright, it is a joyous card. You know, when you see it come out in a read, it means that something is really going to make you feel supported. That's going to be the life of the party. Maybe you'll be the life of the party, you know, or your friends will really come to your rescue. The other thing is, yeah, it can be your friends coming to have your back when you're feeling low and to really lift you up. But it's raising a cup and salutation and celebration. And so the Three of Cups is in the upright and in general a very, very positive card. But all right, guys, so that concludes the how-to part. And here we have 3 decks. The first deck is the Rider-Waite-Smith by AGM, and with it we have a beautiful sunstone. The second deck is the Linestrider Tarot by Siolo Thompson, and we have a beautiful blue fluorite. The lighting's kind of not doing it justice. And then the last deck is the Tarot of the Divine by Yoshitani, and with it we have a beautiful clear quartz. And I was drawn to use this deck, and again, I do what my Rice Krispies tell me to do, and I think it's going to give us some positive messages. I think because the animals in the Linestrider were just, you know, they're party animals, right? So I did go ahead and go with the Animal Spirit Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. It's got beautiful images and really you know, spot on keywords, so we're going to use that to clarify the read. Please, I do ask that you please choose from your intuition. If you need more time, please pause the video, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so deck number 1. How does the Three of Cups manifest in your life? Ooh, look at this. Okay, little energy, please. Oh, guys. Please clarify the Three of Swords. Okay. Oh, some good energy. Oh, that's really kind of nice, guys, because we're going from, we've got 3, 3, 6, and then going to a 4. So we're going, and then we've got the Chariot. Yes, all right. All right, and let's go ahead and let's get your advice from the Animal Spirit Guide. Can you see okay? Good. Okay, what's our advice? Aww. Oh, this looks really good, guys. All right, so what I am getting is, in the past you've got the Page of Pentacles, right? And pages are good, wonderful, they're novice energies, right? They're beginners. And what I'm definitely getting is there's a lot of pentacles here. So I'm kind of reading it one of 2 ways. And I always say that, sorry guys, but I do. I can kind of read it, you know, both if you are feminine watching or masculine watching, and assign the genders as they resonate. I see in the past that someone kind of presented you with kind of a real novice offer. But what, you know, it's interesting. We've got cups here, and this is the only place that we have cups, which is emotions, right? The rest of it is pentacles, thoughts, and then action, or you know, momentum, which is good. This is actually a really pretty read. This isn't so bad. Don't be intimidated. There are no bad cards in tarot, but just because we got the 3 swords doesn't mean catastrophe. But what I'm seeing here is, in the past, what happened was someone kind of offered you something in kind of a real modest way, but it was something that was really important to you. The Ace of Pentacles, like this is the Ace of Pentacles, right? But what it is that something in the past, someone very mildly offered you something that was really what you wanted, right? Like maybe somebody, maybe your dream was to, get married and have a house, and that's all you've wanted, right? The other thing I kind of get is that you're willing to work hard for it, right? You're not afraid to put in the effort or do what you got to do. But because this is a page, this is not a knight or a king or a queen. I think I'm really getting a sense what happened was someone got your hopes up. Someone got your hopes up, because a page is also very childlike energy, right? It's like coming someone just like, just like the Page of Wands gets all excited about their ideas. It's almost like a dream to them. They're like, oh yes, I'm going to be the CEO of a company and I'm going to make millions of dollars and I'm going to live in a mansion. Yes, all of that is great in theory, but from page to king, right? You live in the castle when you're the king and the queen. You're not living in the castle when you're the page, and it isn't a bad thing. And actually, you see that castle here. I really get the sense that in the past, either someone offered you, like someone, I'm getting kind of, I'm getting, this could be either, I'm getting more of a romantic vibe with this because there is a heart here. Now, it can be work related because, goodness knows if you have your heart set on something. Um, so there's a few ways we can read this. One way is if you're a woman watching this, a man approached you, but this I also get a little bit of an age difference here. There might be, and granted, you can be dating someone younger who's very mature for their age, so age is really nothing but a number. But what I'm getting is I get the sense that someone approached you in a real novice way, but they were offering you something that was like your heart's desire. And they made it look real, like real. Like I do think it was a genuine offer. Like this person really did want to offer you the cornerstone of something. But that you see, this is a small pentacle. It's not as big as the Ace of Pentacles, but it was, the other thing is it's something that you really valued. It was something that you wanted. And what happened was, because it wasn't a real, it's not that it wasn't a solid offer, it's just this person was more aspiring. They weren't, this is a page, right? This is someone who's just learning how to do this stuff. So they might have come at you in a kind of a real young kind of way. Again, just like the Page of Wands, it's like, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. This person's like, well, I'm going to have a house and I'm going to have a career. And, this person really offered you something of value, something that you really valued. But what happened was that, you really wanted that. I think you got excited about it. If this is a job, it could be that you really started, like you put the effort towards something, like you were beginning down this path. The other thing that I can kind of get is that maybe you were starting down a path of a lot of stability and you might have gotten a little derailed by, one way that I can kind of see this is maybe that one way I can kind of see this is maybe you said, okay, I'm gonna go to college to be a marine biologist, and then your friends are like, don't leave town, don't go to that college in another state, stay here with us, do the it's either that, or one way that I can kind of see it is I do see this combination as being a little bit of like the maybe your boyfriend's going to a college in another state and they want you to go with them, but you know that you're starting off on your career, or you're starting off, basically you started the foundation of something, but then you got around other people that you felt like this camaraderie with, and it derailed you, right? It took you away from this. The other way I can read it is that maybe you had a relationship that approached you and offered you something of value, but it seemed a little immature, right? Like it wasn't ready. What the seed wasn't ready to be planted. Either that or this person was not prepared, right? The other thing I'm kind of getting is like I'm just not ready to do this yet. So the other thing is that it's quite possible that you might have been offered the seed of something really stable. The other thing that you might get here is that maybe you were talking to someone who really wanted more commitment, wanted something a little bit more formal, and you weren't ready to give up your partying yet, right? Because the present energy, you've got the Three of Cups, and then the root of it is the Three of Swords. This is most definitely a third party situation. This is a third party situation. The other thing I get is with the Six of Pentacles, normally the Six of Pentacles is, and this is 3 and 3, which equals 6. And you've got the correlation of the pentacle suit here. So you've got cups, swords, and pentacles. One other way that I can kind of read this is that it's quite possible that you might have met someone who wanted to start something really, really, like they wanted to, the ace, the first pentacle is a cornerstone. It's the beginning. It's the seed of something very steady. That ace can grow into the 10 of pentacles. It can grow into the queen and king of pentacles, meaning that you can have the happily ever after. You can have the house and the solidarity and the happiness, the stability. But I think this person wasn't ready to give you that, but they started to offer it to you, but then they turned around and kind of pulled back that offer. Either that or they showed that they were so immature that they weren't ready. They kind of held up the pentacle. You see how they're holding up the pentacle like, hey, would you like this? And you're like, hell yeah, I'd like that. And then they're like, oops, sorry, I gotta, psych, and that's really kind of crappy, by the way. The other way that I can kind of read this is that it's possible that maybe you offered stability to someone, and then, you offered, again, that's a page is it's an early beginning. So this isn't like usually I see the pentacle as a rock, so sometimes it can be proposal, but that's not coming from a page. That would be coming from like a knight or a king, or a queen if a woman is proposing to you. But what I'm seeing is that I get the sense that you might have started like a really early relationship. Again, I feel like this is like dating, and it's almost like you're holding up that pentacle to say, see here, look, this is what we could have. It's just a seed right now, but this could grow into everything, right? This could grow into a home. This could grow into a family. This could grow into a career. I am almost getting a little bit, if this is career, I get the sense that somebody might have kind of baited you with like, hey, do you want to do this position? It's going to be everything. And then, I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump around. I hope this is making sense. If this is romantic, you very preliminarily dated someone and you saw a future with that person. It was like you went out for coffee, you saw home and family, and you saw the 10 of Pentacles with this person. But then this person turned around and said, oh, I'm not ready for that yet. So it's like you're holding up your pentacle, but you didn't get reciprocation. The other thing that I kind of get is that this person, you see how one person is kind of waiting to get their due, but this person is paying someone else, right? And they're saying that they owe, the scales are balanced, so it's like I have to put my attention over here right now. So one thing that I'm kind of getting is, because this is Pentacles, it's quite possible that you went out on a few dates with someone that you really saw potential with, but they either got distracted with work, where they had to put their time and effort into work. The other thing I kind of get is that, the other thing that I get, which is really kind of, part of my French, a little shitty, but when someone says, oh, well, I got to go to this work event, and then you see them partying, they got posts on Instagram, and you're like, you're not at work. Either that or you're partying with your coworkers. And it feels like that Three Swords. It feels like, God, I feel like you were very innocent in the way that you held up. You were showing your worth. You were showing your value. And this person just said, oh, I do get the sense that someone was not making you a priority. Either that or, what I'm also getting is that this person was showboating for other freaking people. You were, and I'm sorry to get angry at this, but that is I'm sorry, anytime the Three of Swords comes up, that's some crappy ass energy. The other thing is the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles is a fair energy, but when I see it in this context, someone clearly was, you've ever heard of the phrase, don't make someone a priority when you're their second option? This person was making you the second option. They had other, they were partying. You see how this is how it looks to me. They're raising their glass while you're over here with something very, very solid. You're offering them something solid and they're over here, raising their glass. They could be partying with your friends, but the other thing that I kind of get is that I think that you might be getting the obligatory text messages of, oh yeah, I'm busy, I'll catch you later. And it's a little bit, I am seeing a third party situation here. It could be work related. It's possible that this person might be keeping up a certain reputation but what I am definitely seeing is that they weren't making you a priority because they were either that or they were still partying with their friends. The other thing that I kind of get is that, again, this is an immature energy. Maybe they thought, you do have those situations where you go out on one date and this person's in the mood to be, you see people who are in transition, right? Someone who they are growing, but they're doing it slowly, and that's Pentacle energy for sure. But what they're doing is, oh, okay, today, on the day that I go out the date with you, I'm really thinking about the future. I might want to settle down. And then the next morning, they're like, oh, my friends called me. Let me go party. And then you're texting them like, hey, and they're breadcrumbing you, unfortunately. So, and this is heartbreaking because I do get the sense that you were very earnest. You were very honest in the way that you were presenting this person, or the way this person presented themselves to you. You wanted that celebration. You felt like this person was, I also get a sense that it's a little bit of that disappointment where, this could be dating disappointment, definitely. Maybe there was someone that you really saw a lot of potential with, but then you later realize, okay, they're talking to other people. They're not. They're being free agent. We haven't gotten to the Knight of Cups yet, but, and again, I don't mean to be judgmental about this, but this combination is really, I'm not liking this energy, and it's a little bit F boy or F girl. It is. It's someone who's like, because this is frivolous in the sense that, why are you going to present yourself in a very immature way as if you're offering something of real value, and then turn around and be like, oh, well, let me chat them, let me talk them, and then this person sees you doing this. They know, this person knows they're here offering you something very solid, and here you are just not even acknowledging, they're not acknowledging your efforts, and it hurts. It hurts. And it doesn't necessarily have to be another person that they're talking to. Maybe they are just partying with their friends. But again, if they're not making you a priority, that's painful. And I think that you somehow know that, either from instinct or seeing it online, or, you just kind of know that. The other thing is that I do get the sense that, I always think of the biblical quote every single time I see this card. Is there's a quote in the Bible where this rich man throws a bunch of money into the bowl, I'm going to think of it the moment I finish the video, but that bowl that collects money for supporting the church and supporting others. That when the rich man throws $100 in there, but $100 is nothing to the rich man. But the poor man throws his last dollar into the collection tray. And that's everything. That's a meal to the poor man, right? And it means so much more coming from the poor man. It means nothing coming from the rich man. And here, I just feel like this person feels like they're rich because they have all these options, because they're a free agent, because they can dance around, they can go in circles. The other thing I'm kind of getting is they're keeping this in circles. Well, let me throw you a text here and there to keep you around, because yes, you are offering me something of value, but once I'm done talking to the cute chick at the bar, I might get back to you. That's the kind of energy I'm seeing here, and that's why it's irritating me, guys. I'm sorry. I keep my emotions out of your read, but this isn't really nice energy. Now, but what I'm seeing is your future is really, really bright. Is really bright, and I am grateful for that, because again, we got 3 and 3 is 6, right? I think this is a situation of the rich man throwing, they're maintaining their status of their mo, their mode of operation, right? I think this person is used to keeping in that circle, because we did talk about the 3 being kind of that too much of a good thing. I think this is their pattern. I think their pattern. I honestly think they're a little bit spoiled too. I'm sorry, I don't mean for this to be so negative. Please forgive me. I tried to. The other thing is that if it's a real read, I'm not trying to like sugarcoat this. But I don't think this is a bad situation. But the moment that I see heartache, your feelings are part of that heart, and I get a little mama bear. I'm sorry, guys, I get mama bear with you, but because what it is that if someone feels like they are so entitled, maybe they're a pretty girl or a pretty guy, just because they can get numbers doesn't mean that you can just treat someone. If you're offering a pentacle to them, that is the seed of something really freaking fabulous. And if this person is so haughty or just arrogant that they don't recognize that they still want to hit on the other chick or the other guy at the bar, that this person might not be worth your time, because this is sincere energy, and this is some stringing along because of their habits. But what I am seeing is that in the future we've got the Four of Wands. Now, there's kind of a few ways I can read this. Now, what might happen is that this could be, just in all fairness, because the scales are here, I'm trying to invoke the Libra. We also got the Four of Wands, which is very balanced. This could be a situation where you had a heartfelt, like you had a sincere beginning, like a solid beginning with someone, and maybe someone was kind of young and they went out, you do see this, right? If you're younger and, maybe you started dating someone when you were in high school. This person needed to go out and make their own mistakes, and they did. They went out and made their own mistakes. The other thing that I kind of get from this to defend the other person is that it's quite possible that you were very sincere and honest with them. They went out and effed around, and they got screwed over by it. And they're learning. They're learning. I think they are seeing how unfair they were to you. But in that circumstance, we're not seeing the Ten of Swords here, but if somebody was playing like this, if someone was playing around and they just expect you to be there when you come back, I would be careful with that energy. So one way I can read it is that either this person learned because maybe they did have a time of extravagance and they genuinely learned from it. And they might come back to you and say, okay, I've learned, I'm a better person. This is a very happy ending. The other thing is that the Four of Wands is about having kind of that psychic connection, that 5D where you sense one another. So it can be someone that you definitely have some kind of soul tie to, where I think it can either end happily with this person, or the other way that I kind of read it is that it's possible that maybe you learned from dating. The other thing that I kind of get from this is maybe that you did have a few hard knocks in dating, right? Maybe you dating is what prepares us for your true soulmate, right? Once you've had the hard knocks in dating, you know what you need, right? You learn what you need from what you don't need, right? And sometimes that is a few rounds of getting your feelings hurt, or learning, seeing someone's true colors. But I think that the other thing that I kind of get is that you've learned to not settle, right? you go out. The other thing that I kind of get is that maybe you were very innocent in the way that you've dated before. Maybe you kind of on every date you were like, hey, this is what I want, do you want this too? And maybe that was just a little too open of an approach, not in a bad way, but after a few rounds, I think, not, believe me, I'm not a big fan of dating. I've done enough of it in my life where it's not the most easy thing. But I think once you find the right person, the other thing that I kind of get is that maybe this is a sign that you've been on a few bad dates. You've had that morning after where you're like, God, is this ever going to get better? And it will. It will. I do think that you're going to find someone. The other thing is, I think you're going to graduate out of this energy where you're going to feel a lot more confident. But if this is a person that you're dealing with, unfortunately, this feels, all three of this is group activity. We've got three people in this card. We've got three swords here. We've got three people in this card. Now, you've got two people here. One last way that I can kind of read it is that there might be someone in your life that really needs to give up a third party situation. They either have to give up their kind of partying ways to be with you, and they might actually do that, or unfortunately, it might be the breakup of one relationship in order for them to be with you. But any way you look at it, that's a little bit, that's some tough energy, guys. So, but I trust your instincts, because the Page of Pentacles, that's a practical person. The other thing that I kind of get is that maybe after having so many entanglements with people who were not on your level, you will find someone who's on your level, and you are going to have everything that you want. You are, and the other thing that I get is that's going to be a real celebration when you get there, right? The other thing that I kind of get is that I think that you have family and friends who are really supportive. If you have had some heartbreak, maybe your friends are taking you out to kind of, maybe someone's been stringing you along, and you realize that they've had a third party, and your friends are like, okay, honey, let's go out. We're going to have some fun. And then in the future, you are going to find everything that you're looking for. There's no doubt. No doubt. Whether this person gets their head out of their butt or you, I get the sense that you're going to find somebody much, much better, because that page, you're learning, and you have so much to offer. Now, the other thing that you got is you got number 63, which boils down to 9, which is 333, by the way. 3 people, 3 swords, 3 people. But you got Vulture Spirit, which is nothing is wasted. So I like to get this card. I know it has a vulture on it, which, I got kind of thrown with it too. But that's a really great card. It just means that these hard knocks in dating, maybe you've had your heart bruised a few times. Maybe you've dealt with some people. But let me promise you, if you ever need to feel better, if you Google there's some great and not to laugh at it, it's not funny, but if you ever look at there's a few commentary threads, like communication threads out there. There's boards that talk about guys who have screwed over good girls. And same vice versa. There's been, girls who have screwed over good guys. And they post comments on there like all the time, like, what do you most regret about leaving that person? All the women who came after her. And that's what I'm getting here. If this was a situation where someone was being frivolous, they couldn't give up their philandering ways, this person is going to go on to a string, like attracts like, right? And the other thing that I kind of get is they might have to watch you be happy. If someone was playing games, if they were keeping you in a third party situation, you were offering something solid, and you're going to go on and you're going to get what makes your happiness, right? And someone might have to watch you go off with someone else, have a home, have the celebrations, and they'll, and this isn't in a mean way. This isn't to say, oh, someone's going to get theirs for, not treating you right. Again, like attracts like, people have their own personal lessons in life. If one person's lesson is to date around, you're going to date around. And dating is not all that's cracked up to be. Go get that. Have fun with that. Because once you meet someone who is actually your parallel, right? The other thing is that nothing is wasted. I think the universe is really telling you that, this vulture has a crown on its head. These experiences, as heartbreaking as they can be sometimes, they teach you, right? They you know, pain unfortunately is a fast teacher, and it's not always pleasant, but you've got such a bright future. You're going to be happy. The other thing is that, again, you know, breakups, divorces, you know, these kind of little hurts, they show you what you want, right? It's almost like it's a learning process. But to get the Four of Wands in the future, that's a really beautiful outcome. And I think that's going to be something that's really going to help you celebrate. And the other thing that I kind of get is that I do think that you have supportive people. I think you have people around you who know what you've been through. The other thing I get from this is if you are feeling like worn out, if you're feeling a little battle worn, please reach out to someone around you that you can talk to. You know, if you have had your feelings, your heart broken, you know, talk to someone. It's maybe in your friend group. I'm really getting a strong sense like this is your friend circle. Because I think once you get in once you feel balanced, and sometimes other people's stories really help you, you'll know that none of these experiences you know, were worthless, right? Going through that pain really taught, you know, helped in your growth, and nothing is wasted. So wow, guys, that's a really beautiful read. That came out good, and no worries. Your future is very, very bright. All right, so deck number 2, the Linestrider Tarot with the party animals. Let's go ahead and see, how does the Three of Cups manifest in your life? Ooh, wow. Oh gosh, guys, present energy, please. Okay, really. Future energy. Oh wow, we've got a lot of wands here, guys. Fool. 10 of Pentacles, 4 of Cups. Okay, that 10 of Pentacles really wants to roll out. I'm going to take that into consideration. This is very clear. You've got 2 10s. You're coming up on the culmination of a cycle. And you've got family. You got family involved. It's almost like you're ignoring... I'm sorry, I'm going to get into this. I think all 3 of these are going to be romance related. I'm just going to come out and say it. We've got Cups and we've got Wands. In the past, I definitely am getting a relationship reading from this. I'm getting a sense in the past you got Judgment and you got the 8 of Cups. And what's beautiful about Judgment is this person has a mask, but the mask is kind of like to the side. It's kind of ajar. So this angel still can't see. They're blind, right? And then you've got the 8 of Cups and you see a letter on the ground. I think the root of it is the 8 of Cups, but there's a calling here. There's a calling. I think you saw something. I think you were really, you had built up something emotionally with someone or something. I'm really getting a feeling it's a person. And you walked away from that, right? You walked away from that, and you have Judgment here. And Judgment is blind, right? And it's wearing a mask. I think you're refusing to see. You're being called. I'm getting this real clear, guys. Gosh, God, I'm getting downloads with this. Seriously, I don't channel, but I'm getting very clear your situation with very few cards, and the cards that are trying to slide out. You walked away from something. In the past, you walked away from something. It could be that maybe you had to walk away from something, but it was definitely romantic. The other thing is that I think there was some kind of letter. I'm getting a Dear John letter. It was either a Dear John letter to you, or you wrote a Dear John letter to someone else. I have a feeling you wrote it to someone else, because you see your stuff is all packed up. And the other thing is you've got like winter clothes on. I think that you feel like you were left out in the cold, so you just walked away. But that letter is on the ground, kind of like, you know, like you were told to. But basically, you walked away from something that you had emotionally invested in. And you were called to something else, like the Judgment crowns this energy. So the manifestation of it is Judgment. And I read that one of 2 ways. Maybe you were called to do something. It could be job related or work related. Either that, or The real strong message that I'm getting is that you had some kind of separation from someone. Either you sent a letter to them saying, okay, we're no longer together, or they sent a letter to you saying, you know, I'm getting like a strong Dear John kind of sense where someone kind of said, okay, I'm not, our futures are, there's a fork in the road here. And this person walked away from you. I'm getting a feeling like you walked away from them and you felt like you were out in the cold when you did it and you were fully prepared to walk away. It's almost like you packed up your stuff and left. But what I'm getting is that you're getting signs or symbols that you need to go back to this person and you're trying to ignore it. You're putting on a mask. The other thing I kind of get is that maybe if you left someone for some kind of situation, maybe you were appeasing your family or maybe you were taking some kind of job position. Whatever it is, whatever caused you to walk away from the situation, you're keeping up the face. I'm really drawn to this mask. The other thing is with the lilies and the experience, because normally judgment is blowing the horn. And here the horn is in their arm with the lilies, which is experience, and they're blinded by the mask. Judgment is not taking the mask off. And that just, so it's screaming at me because the judgment talks about a calling, right? It talks about, that's the universe sending you symbols. And you know what it is that I'm getting a sense that you walked away from something that you emotionally invested in because you were called to. The other thing that I kind of get is that you might have walked away from someone for some reason, and you're getting messages about that person. Maybe you left a relationship and all of a sudden, I'm seeing symbols. This person is showing up as symbols. You walked away from this person, but something in either what they told you or what you know of them, like say for instance this person said they like bluebirds, right? Like bluebird of happiness, and they told you, oh, I love bluebirds, they're my spirit animal. And then all of a sudden everywhere you freaking go you see bluebirds. You turn on the TV, there's a bluebird. You go for a walk, there's a bluebird. Something like that. You're getting called, and but the horn is in their hand but not being used, and they're not taking off the mask. You're ignoring it. You're ignoring the symbols. You're ignoring the symbols. Either that, or maybe you had to walk away from this because there was another opportunity that you wanted to follow, but you were hesitant because you're like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the thing to do? And you're keeping the mask on, like, okay, you know, maybe you left a relationship to pursue a job opportunity, and people are like, oh, how you doing at work? I'm doing great. You're keeping that mask on, right? And you're not taking the mask off. And judgment is not blowing the horn. It's like you're trying to push off, you're questioning your decision. You're questioning your decision. The other thing I get is with the present energy, I do think that you're like consulting with your friends. I think your friends are your support group. The other thing that I got is that the Ten of Pentacles and the Four of Cups really wanted to come out. And the Four of Cups is that universe offering you the cup, but you ignoring it because you have 3 other cups there and the other 3 cups are here. And you've got the Ten of Pentacles, which rules family obligations. Gosh, guys, I'm getting so many I'm not psychic. I don't channel. I'm not that skilled. I promise you I'm not. I'm seeing the symbols very, very clearly here. You have some kind of family obligation and it's making you forego love. And your friends are your only allies right now? It's like you can't talk to your family about it because what you're doing something for your family. I think your friends are the only ones that know the truth, and I think you consult or you talk with them or you escape. I think your only escape is your friends right now because you're ignoring signs. You're ignoring signs about something that you walked away from. You're committed to some kind of family obligation and you won't accept the cup. The other thing I get is that here, underneath the 3 of Cups, you got the 8 of Wands, which is really swift activity, and you got the 7 of Wands, which is conflict. And there's animals, 3 animals in this as well. I'm kind of seeing that because there's 3 animals, but it's different animals than this. I think you're finding solace with your friends. Either that or you might be fighting with some friends. I'm not getting that as clearly. I'm getting a strong sense that you're doing something for family. You walked away from some kind of emotional attachment and you're putting up a front like you're happy. But the universe is screaming to you, and it's doing it in symbols. And please comment if you're so inclined, if this is resonating. I would be really curious, what symbols are you seeing? Because you're getting synchronicities. I'm positive you're getting synchronicities about something that you walked away from. Something that you're walking away from is calling to you. The universe is like, and I can promise you, you know what I'm almost getting, and I hate to say it, I'm sorry guys, if you deny it, like right now you're probably looking at this video and going, I'm not getting any synchronicities. You're going to turn around, turn the TV on, and something that you've been ignoring is going to be right there. Either that or it's going to be like a straight up like flashing neon sign. And believe me, I empathize because I'm right there with you. I get this, like the moment that I ask the universe, and that can be your higher power, it can be God, it can be your spirit guides, whatever you believe in. If you say, please send me a sign, you best your bottom dollar, bet your bottom dollar they'll send you that sign. But the other thing is that because there's quite a lot of animals here, is it sending you a sign in flowers? That's the other thing. It's sending you signs in flowers or nature. Something in nature. Something in nature. I'm getting like an animal or flower or something that you see when you go for a walk. I love walks. They're so peaceful. But what I'm seeing here is that there was like a sudden energy, because these are 2 8s. There was a sudden there was a sudden propel forward. It's almost like you walked away from something and the universe was trying to get your attention. Like, okay, are you sure? You sure you want to walk away from this? And you're like, yes, I'm sure, I'm fine. I've made my decision. Again, that 4 of Cups. No, I'm fine. It's like you're ignoring it. You're not looking at the cup that's being offered to you. And it's almost like I feel like you're doing it for some kind of family purpose. Either there's some kind of family tradition that you're adhering to, or possible because that was Pentacles, maybe you're earning money for family, or you're adhering to some kind of tradition. So you're not looking at the cup, even though this is universe. When the 4 of Cups, the universe is handing the cup, it's coming out of the ether. This is a gift from the divine. And the judgment is an angel. And I think subconsciously you know what you walked away from. But what it did is that this was the past, and you got propelled forward, which felt really exciting. I think it was really exciting when you walked away from this. It kind of like, these 2 are like, have you ever seen like a ball bouncing? It goes bounce and then it goes here. So, the ball coming from this direction goes boom, boom, So when you walked away or, did a break from whatever you invested in before, it really propelled you forward. But the thing is, it propelled you into a lot of conflict. You see how this goat is standing up on a ledge and he looks a little dazed, he doesn't know how to get off this ledge. It's almost like, good God, what did I get myself into? And I think this could be work related, or possibly if this is love related, where you chose one person over another. To be honest, you might not be the happiest in that right now, but you might be putting up a front like you're happy, like you've got it all together, like everything. I really get the 7 of Wands is, the 7 of Wands is the fighting for what's right. But you see that the 8 of Wands is so peaceful. It looks like Bambi, it looks like everything's going great, rose petals falling. And then here you've got like, conflict and people going at each other. Possibly you might have agreed to something that you thought was going to be real smooth, was just going to be a smooth transition, but you might have kind of gotten yourself into something, you might have gotten in over your head. And what you're doing is you're taking solace with your friends. It's maybe this is work related, where you just feel like, God, every day is a battle, and then you come home and you party with your friends. The other thing that I kind of get is that you might be escaping with a little bit of food and drink. And no judgment, it's been a really hard year, and if you're in North America, it's winter time, so the days are short. There is comfort food, and but I am almost getting that I think that you kind of decompress with your friends. The other thing is that I do get a kind of escapism. I think whatever you walked away, the universe is trying to call you back to, but you're stuck in the commitments. You have some kind of commitment where you cannot. You're sticking with the Three of Cups, but you're not looking at the Fourth Cup. You're not taking back whatever you walked away from. I am getting almost a little bit of a stubborn energy with that. The other thing that I kind of get is that you're going to follow through with what you agreed to. You're going to stick it out. That's the other thing about the Seven of Wands. You're resisting. But the other thing that I get is that I do get a strong sense that it's like chaos during the day, and then the only time you get a chance to decompress is either at night or on the weekends. And I do get the sense that you have friends that you do that with. Like you call up your friends. The other thing is that I think that you might consult with your friends. I think your friends know everything that's going on. They know the Eight of Cups that you walked away from, and I think they know the Seven of Cups, the Seven of Wands, the battles that you're fighting. The funny thing is that I don't think that they know the symbols that you're seeing. You haven't told them about the signs that you're seeing. And I think that plays into your Four of Cups. You're hanging with the Three of Cups, and you're not telling them. You're ignoring that Fourth Cup. That's the cup that the universe is handing to you. You're pretending like it's not there. You're keeping the mask on. I'd be really curious what symbols you're seeing. I think it's going to be different for everyone. Ten of Pentacles, yeah. Maybe it's because you have to be the head of your household. Maybe you have to make money right now. But I think you made sacrifices for that. But the thing is, I do get a sense that I think you do have a support system, which is wonderful because you need that. I think the support system's your friends. I do think that you might be drinking a little bit more than normal, though. But I think it's like stress relief to you. It's stress relief because it's like every day is a battle. Every day you have to hold it down. Now, the future energy is really, I did not expect this, guys. I thought that out of these decks I would see at least one baby shower. Maybe deck 3. But the future energy is the Ten of Wands. I'll be honest, guys, is that you're taking on the burden that's not yours. This is almost advice, I think I really get a strong sense that you're sacrificing your needs in the name of duty, which is very honorable, it's very noble. But you're working so hard. You're working so hard. The other thing that I get is that it's these real hard extremes. Like you race ahead, and then everything is a bloody battle, and then you clock out and you call up your friends, you have a few, and then you go to sleep, wake up, do it again. And again, if you're watching this at the time that the video posts, this could just be, there's no separation between work and home right now. You get up, you turn the laptop on, and it's been very hard. Psychologically, it's been hard. But it's just cautioning you that I think that you're going to feel a little bit burdened. Again, this girl she's got all these sticks tied to her. And look at this. This looks like a tie. This looks like a necktie. You know what that looks like? That looks like one of the ties you wear in a business environment. But she's down on her knees. She's crumpled down because she's tired. I think in the future, right now right now you're holding it together. Like, I think you're decompressing with your friends, you're venting to your friends, you're consulting your friends, but then you're still in this process. You can't fight like this every day, and and it's gonna build up, right? The wands are gonna build up. I think it is just telling you that you might need to put some things down. Either that, or if you do choose to. The other thing is that I do get a strong sense that the universe is trying to call to you. Um, these might be battles that you have to face. The other thing is that you might be getting some recognition or some accolades. There might be some celebration for the way that you've been handling things, but this is not really looking sustainable to me, because the future, you're going to still be really worn out, right? The 10 of Wands is taking on burdens that are not yours. And the other thing is that, when you think about it, it's not a bad thing. It's just, the Three of Cups is a celebratory card, but, we all get into healthy habits, right? How we live. If you drink enough water, if you get exercise during the day, if you stretch your muscles, if you stretch every 15 minutes to, stand up and, move your body, that's what keeps you in a good stance moving forward. I just think that you're going to be real tired as you move forward if you keep up this. The other thing is that whatever symbols that the universe is sending you, there is a calling here. There's a calling here. And maybe what you can do is you could either, if you have wants, because the only cups that I see here are the 8 that you walked away from and the 3 that you share with your friends. And then the 4 of Cups, the 4th cup that you were ignoring because you're with the other 3, right? You're with your friends. You're not looking at the new cup that's coming your way. And I think that I'm really hearing, no one's got time for that, is what I'm hearing. But I think you do need to take care of yourself. I think you're taking on way more than the lion's share. And it's just warning you that you might be taking on problems that are not yours to solve. The other thing is that there might be a calling to someone. The other thing that I get is that if you're sacrificing love, if you're sacrificing love or you're ignoring something, you might be in a pattern of self-medicating. The other thing is that, again, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're in a phase in your life where you really do lean on your friends, you hang with your friends, but this kind of 7 of Wands, you want to be careful with that, because you can't do that forever, right? You will end up in the 10 of Wands, and the 10 of Wands is it's the last card, it's the culmination, right? You can't continue past that point. So you might feel a little bit exhausted in the future, and it's just kind of like the something has to give, right? Something has to give. You have to give into what your desires are, right? You can't just ignore that. You can't ignore the signs. The other thing is you got Spider Spirit. And this is an 11. It's 5 and 6, which is 11, which is like the wish number. And it says, make your dreams real. A lot of times when I see spider webs, I think of the Wheel of Fortune, because everything is interconnected. If you pull on one string of a spider web, the rest of it claps, right? Because it's a web. So I do think that your actions or the things that you do for other people, that does come back to you. But what I'm really getting from this is that your wants are important. Your desires are important. If you put your heart on a shelf in order to work for other people, to work for your family, you might have created a system of, again, I'm thinking of an exhaust valve, right? You get so overheated, right? Because maybe you've foregone going into relationships, or maybe you're keeping your relationships real casual, but it's wearing you out, right? It can't be all work and no play, or it's possible that a more excessive lifestyle is really not serving you. But it's really your decision. It boils down to you as to what you know, if you're going to say no to these responsibilities, if you're going to put something down. But I'm getting a strong sense that this Judgment card, because this is the one major out of all of these, and majors are very important, whatever it's calling you to do, either that or this, I really get the sense that you're already getting symbols, guys. It might be a spider, it might be a web, but you have the ability to you can have you the other thing I'm getting is you can have your cake and eat it too. We talked about that. I think that you can have love and have success at work. You can support your family and still have your personal needs met. They're not interchangeable, you know, they're not, it's not one or the other. You can have both, but you might have to say no a little bit, right? You might have to tell your family, okay, I can't do this for you right now. I think you do need to make your needs a priority. And I think if you make your dreams real, then it will bring you back into balance. You won't feel like you had to fight all the time and, you know, worn out, or, you know, like you have to go out with your friends in order to decompress. But the other thing is that if you're not getting signs, or if you're kind of blocking them out, I would go ahead and open up the psychic channel. You know, if you feel comfortable with that, go ahead and open up your psyche and say, you know, please send me a sign. How can I be happy? Right? The other thing I get is that I think you're happy with your friends, but it's a little bit of a surrogate kind of, it's a pressure relief valve, because when you think about it, you hang out with your friends every once in a while. It's not like every day, in order to, you know, almost detox the stress from your workday, right? It's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be periodically and in a fun way. The other thing that I kind of get is that if this is relationships, maybe you're very casually dating because you're busy, or you've got a lot of responsibilities. I think it is kind of telling you that lifestyle it might be on its way out, because it's adding more to your load than it is helping you. And there might be something from your past that's really calling you back. But wow, guys, whoa, that was really deep. But this is really a beautiful card, because it really does mean that you have a lot to celebrate. You can manifest anything that you want, right? And it is. I think it's really calling you to put that energy towards your wants, right? What is it that you want? All right. So last but not least, we've got the Tarot, the Divine. So the Three of Cups, how does this manifest in your life? Let me make sure my microphone is on. Yes, it is. Okay, so past energy, Three of Cups. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay, present energy. Okay. Future energy. Oh my gosh. Wow. Page of Swords. The Fool. Okay. Somebody is watching somebody online. Okay, let me go ahead and get your card. What is our advice? Oh, that's interesting, guys. Okay. Wow. And this is so cool, because your oracle card, you got an eagle, and the emperor usually has an eagle. He has a bird totem on his shield. So I think that's really cool. Oh, wow, guys. So let me just see something here. I'm just getting a bead here. Wow, this is really interesting. This is interesting energy. So in the past, you got a lot of fire energy. You got the Page of Wands and the Knight of Wands. And the root of that energy is the Four of Swords. So I think in the past, you've either expressed this energy, or you've dealt with people who have been in this energy, because what I'm seeing is the root of it is the Four of Swords, which is, the Four of Swords is about taking a break, right? It's like, if you watch the How to Tarot, it's about going to your corner, right? I always say it's that card of, your problems haven't gone away, but they will be there when you get back, right? So what I'm kind of seeing is, I'm seeing that, it's almost like, it's almost like in the past, you kind of, I kind of read this one of two ways. You were either dealing with someone who was really in and out of your life, someone who was, that, things were always real impulsive. It's almost like, you were dealing with someone who, it's, the other thing is, with it being wands, it was real passionate, really magnetic, a lot of chemistry. I think what was happening is that in the past, you might have had someone that you'd come together with. You felt all this ignite of passion. You see this. This is the story behind this is Tatterhood, right? And you see, this is kind of cute. She's holding a spoon, right? And she's riding a ram, which is very Aries energy. But what I kind of see is, I see that in the past that maybe you had, I'm seeing a lot of on and off energy. Maybe you had relationships that were real quick to start, or really, I'm not seeing a whole lot of commitment. It's possible that things were just real casual, or you would feel the spark with somebody, and then the other thing I get is that you would, impulsive in a good way, like you would have fun with people, like it's like the straight on, the high of endorphins that you would get when you'd start seeing someone. I almost kind of get the sense that that was kind of like how, that was either the type of people that you were attracting, or that was your energy, where you really didn't want anything serious. You kind of enjoyed, the thrill. I'm honestly, not to say it like this, but it feels like the thrill of the hunt. You know, where you either enjoyed the kind of more casual thing, and it's scientifically proven that, when you start to talk to someone new, or when you start flirting with someone, or they start flirting with you, or you get that text message from that person that you've had your eye on, and it gives you that kind of jolt of happiness. It releases dopamine. It releases all of the same chemicals in your brain as heavy drugs. It's like getting a hit, right? And what I'm kind of seeing is, I'm seeing in the past that was either how you either operated, where all of your, and it could be intentional or unintentional, where a lot of the relationships were kind of like that. It would start off with a lot of chemistry. This could be one person that you were dealing with, like you might have really had kind of a Knight of Swords person, and honestly, in both these cards, it's a woman. It's feminine, so it's quite possible that maybe you were dealing with someone who is real vivacious. The other thing is, we got the Queen of Wands here, so it's quite possible. I'm thinking this might very well be your energy, because what we have is, we have the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and then it graduates into the Queen of Wands, and then later we have the Emperor. That's like an entire progression of badass. I'm just gonna say that's some straight up, because the Emperor is Aries energy, right? And this girl's riding a ram, which is, Aries. So, but what I'm seeing is that the other thing that I kind of get is that maybe you really, you like the passion of life. That's the other thing that I get. It's like, and this is a compliment. This is not saying that there's anything, because we are on this planet to enjoy life, right? And enjoying life is being, having that flame inside of us, right? It's enjoying things. It's like, look at this person there. She's completely excited about what she's doing. She's got her full heart and soul in it. So, but what I'm kind of seeing is that, maybe you've kind of taken a break, because what I'm getting is the Four of Swords again. That wolf is tied up. Um, what I'm kind of seeing is, I kind of read this one of two ways. You were either dealing with someone who is real fiery, But I am getting a sense that you felt like a kid around this person. I do. I think this person felt like when you got around them, you just got excited. I get the sense that it's maybe it's two fire people because you really just fed each other. The other thing I kind of get is that it's almost like you would get a little over the top when you were around each other. The other thing that I kind of get is that I almost get the sense like this person, when you get around them, you think, oh, okay, I'm going to keep under control. I'm not going to, I'm going to keep my feelings in check. I'm not going to let anything get out of control. But it never fails. The moment the two of you get around each other, it's like, feeling like kids, and you get out of control, right? So you were either dealing with someone who was really in and out of your life, but when they were in, it was just so joyful. You felt like a kid around this person. This person felt, you'd have fun, and it was like a real passionate kind of connection. Um, but what you decided is you said, okay, I need to take a break from this. The other way that I kind of read it is that maybe you did have a lot of liaisons, again, with this being the manifestation of your Three of Cups. Possibly you jumped into a lot of relationships, and that's your right. If you're a single person, you don't have to, you don't have to be exclusive with anyone if you don't want to. But what I'm seeing here is that it's almost like in the past it was a real unbridled kind of fire energy that you really needed to rein in. And maybe you didn't rein it in. The other thing about this is that in this story, the Four of Swords talks about this wolf as being being one of the harbingers of doom. Not in a weird way, but let me go ahead and read it real quick. But it's a Norse mythology from Norway. It's Fenrir, and it's the Four Swords signals a pause in battle. The Norse gods know that the wolf Fenrir will bring about the end of the world, so they have him bound and chained. While he still represents a threat, for now there is a respite. So what I kind of get is that I get a sense that you probably knew that your energy might have been a little bit reckless, and I'm just going to come out and say it. Either that, or if you're dealing with someone, you might have been dealing with someone who was a little bit reckless, like they didn't care. I'm here for a good time. I don't want anything serious. And because these two cards, you've got the Page and the Knight crowning the Four of Swords, it's almost like saying I don't give a crap. I know that I can bring about, I know that I can do damage, right? I know that this might end, really, when it talks about this person being able to end the world. What I'm not taking that in a literal sense, but I'm thinking that your behavior may have given you a reputation, or you might have been dating someone or dealing with someone who has a reputation, someone who's in and out of your life, but you allowed them to come in and out of your life. It's almost like you couldn't keep the wolf chained up, right? You had to indulge in this because it just made you feel so free. So what I see in the present energy is that I kind of read this one of two ways. If you're a woman watching this, what I'm seeing here is that maybe in the past, when you were younger, you really did let yourself off the chain, like you didn't restrict yourself, even though you knew that. Because in the story, the Queen of Wands, her energy can be creative or it can be destructive. And I think what you've done is, as you've matured, you've learned, okay, well, the other thing I kind of get is maybe you have broken quite a few hearts in your time, or you were dealing with a heartbreaker. But the fact that all three of these are women, I think it's you. But I think what you've learned to do is you've learned to say, okay, I know you've learned, okay, I know I've broken a few hearts. Maybe I'm not really seeing that you've had your heart broken too much, but I think you've learned the power of restraint. I think you've matured because we're going from a knight and a page to a queen. And I think what you've done is, the other thing that I get is that I think that maybe you do have a group of girlfriends that you like, friends that you rely on that have shared their experiences too. The other thing that I get is that with this being the muses, I think that you definitely have matured. The other thing I get is that I think you care about your reputation, because here we have the high priestess, and the high priestess is a mystery, right? The other thing that I get is that you're seriously an it girl, or an it guy. You're very attractive, you're very vivacious. And the funny thing is that when you tone yourself down, you're not holding anything back. I think it's you even more mysterious. Um, the other thing is that I think I do get a sense that you're real single. I think all the guys kind of want you. I think all the girls really admire you too. Like your girlfriends just know, like you're. I think the other thing is that when people party with you or when they're around you, you know that they look good, because you know how when you hang out in a posse of friends, um, you know that it again, I'm getting kind of a wingman kind of group. The other thing I kind of get is that you might have an entourage, you know. I do. I just get the sense that you are some straight up dynamic. You are an it girl. And the thing is, I think that you might have been real impulsive in your youth. Like you don't care if you bring the end of the world, you know, bring it, you know. Either that, or maybe you've had quite a few relationships that were very fiery. But I think you've mastered. You know that you have the power to create or destroy, and you've kind of mastered that. The other thing that I do think is that I think you have reined in. Like you're not as much as a heartbreaker as you used to be, but that reserve makes you that much more alluring. Like people are like, wow, you know, you just that maturity just makes you all the more sexy, right? The other thing that I get is that I think that you are single. Maybe you go out with your girls, and you know you do. People ask you for your phone number. People want to put a ring on it. Um, you know, the other thing that I kind of get is that maybe you've matured a lot from some of these relationships, but you're very dynamic. You're very dynamic. The other thing is that I get that maybe you are an entertainer. The Queen of Wands usually is like I refer to it as the movie star card. So maybe you have a following. Maybe you have a TikTok channel, a YouTube channel. Maybe you're very positive on Facebook. I'm getting a strong sense that you might bring up, you know, you might bring entertainment and joy to others. The other thing that I get is that you might be a spiritual leader, because this is the high priestess, and with it being the Queen of Wands, maybe you really do lead people spiritually. But the high priestess is she understands the realm of the known and the unknown, so that is very spiritual. The other thing that I get is in all these cards, people are dancing. You know, the page is dancing, the Three of Cups is dancing, and then she looks like she's doing like a Polynesian dance. So maybe you're a dancer, um, or you know, maybe you really lead people in that way. You could be like a yoga instructor, or someone who teaches people how to express in a physical way, you know. But I'm definitely getting an athlete, though. I think that you're very athletic. But I do think that you're an it girl. You might not even know that you're an it girl, but nothing. High Priestess is definitely like she's the girl who has all her stuff together. She does not need anyone. And the Queen of Wands, I think you do something very creative. I think you do something creative, and I think it lifts up others. I think you're part of a community, and I think you teach people spiritually, but that makes you hella attractive, though. The other thing I get is that I get the sense that you're not married. I think in the past that you might have had relationships that were real fiery. But the thing that I definitely get is that I don't, unlike the other piles, I'm not seeing like heartbreak here. I think that when things don't go your way, you just let it roll off. you know, like a water on a duck's back. You're like, nope, over it. You know, you don't. Now, the other thing is that I do get the sense that you might be you might have a little bit of a temper, because in all three cards they're kind of wielding things. You know, the page is wielding this thing that looks like, I don't know, like a fox's tail, and then this knight is about to whack somebody with a spoon, and here you have a staff. So you know what I'm thinking of? I have a good friend who has a dance studio, and she teaches several different things, and she's oh my gosh, her work ethic just amazes me. She is an it woman. She's not even an it girl. She's an it woman. But she teaches pole dancing, but she also teaches other things, like we've done aerial yoga, and she does do the aerial, like learning kind of acrobatic kind of stuff. And that's what I almost kind of see here, is that, you know, things that you use with tools. But she, you know, moving your body and dance, moving your body and exercise, that so lifts you spiritually. I think that really, it connects you. The other thing that I kind of get is maybe if this is like Tai Chi or yoga, but I'm seeing a lot more energy. I'm seeing it being a lot more, you know, you might actually teach dance. You might teach salsa dancing, or something that really, you know, kind of speaks to the soul. But I do sense that you do it in a group. But there's such a strong spirituality, and I think you know how you connect people to the divine, like in the movement of your body. You know, the other thing I get is that you are proud of your body. Like this page has no shirt on, but a skirt. And there's skirts in all of this, guys. So maybe you like to wear dresses, or maybe there's some you participate in some kind of maybe there's some kind of ceremony that you do in a skirt. But the other thing that I think you have really strong legs. I think you have really strong legs from whatever it is you do. So again, you know, maybe you're an exercise coach, something like that. But I definitely see a strong sense of either entertainment, where you bring people up. I also see that you connect to people emotionally. Probably other women. Other women. I think you really build other women up. You give other women confidence, and you help them celebrate what's beautiful about our sex, right? And there's a strength in that. I think you're a leader, for sure. You're a leader. Now, what's beautiful is that in the future, you've got the Emperor, and you've got the Five of Coins in the reverse. So I kind of read this one of a few ways. Um, you might either meet your match, like you might either meet an Emperor type, and to be honest, I kind of get the vibe like somebody might have been watching you, you know, wanting to get with you, but you've just been so busy, or you were like, you're just, I think you're hard to catch. Um, the other thing is that, you know, uh, the other thing I kind of get is with the High Priestess. Sometimes guys get intimidated because they don't know how to approach you. You know, you're so beautiful, right? It's like, how do you there's an old song that was there was a TV series called The Heights. It was based on Melrose Place, and yes, I'm that old. But there was a song called How Do You Talk to an Angel, and it was like a one hit wonder, but it's really beautiful. I liked it, and it was a 90s ballad, but it's like, how do you talk to an angel? How do you, bring yourself up to where you are? You know, it's like, how do I level up to that? So I get a sense that someone who's definitely a masculine type, this can be your divine masculine. And I don't throw that term around lightly, because I know people take that very seriously, but I think that you really do have someone who's interested in you. The other thing is that the Five of Coins is like coming out of the cold. Um, so there might be someone who might have felt like you were out, they were out in the cold with you. Or again, it could be someone from your past that was like in and out of your life, and they're ready to step up and be your emperor. The other thing is that this can be a spouse, or it can be a father or grandfather figure. But what I'm seeing is in the future, I'm getting a strong sense with the Five of Pentacles, someone is trying to come out of the cold with you. The other thing that I get with all this fire, with all this wands, I think you are a very warm person. Um, yeah, I get a strong sense that someone really wants to be your man. Someone wants to be your emperor. And this is King Arthur. The other thing that I kind of get is that with it being King Arthur, you know how the tale is the sword and the stone, and only one person can pull the sword from the stone. What I'm kind of getting is that you're of such a level that it would take like a King Arthur type to be your match. Like there's only one man who could approach you, right? There's only one person who could pull the sword from the stone. Um, but I am getting a strong sense with it being the Five of Coins in reverse. I'm seeing two things. First off, I think this person wants to have enough money. Like they want to be your emperor on all levels. Like they want to be able to support you, and they kind of want to be the king of the castle. The other thing that I get is that if this is somebody from your past, this might be someone who for a while has wanted this role with you, but they might have felt like you weren't paying attention to them. Again, feeling like there's so much warmth with all this wands. They might have felt like they were out in the cold with you, and but now they want to kind of shoot their shot. They want their chance to pull the sword from the stone. The other thing that I kind of get is that this person, it's going to be like just like when Arthur pulls the sword from the stone, it was like it's the literature of myth, like it was a moment in time. um and what I'm kind of getting is like I'm getting the sense that there's someone around you that knows your worth, really wants to be your equal. I'm hearing that song, How Do You Talk to an Angel? Like seriously, this person sees how dynamic you are, and they want they want to be your emperor, but it's almost like they either have to come out of a poverty mindset, because the other thing is Arthur was not royalty. He was just a regular, I think he was a stable boy. But what's going to happen is in the future someone's going to come up to you, and it's going to be like that moment in time, like pulling a sword from the stone. They're going to come up and be like, I want you to be my empress. And there, I don't see the empress here, but there's going to be someone who really wants to be of your level. But this person either feels like they're not good enough, or that they have to come in from the cold. Either that, or they feel like they're building themselves up to have that moment of approaching you. The other thing that I can get is that this might be a father or grandfather figure who might be having some financial trouble, that you might be helping. But here, I'm definitely getting a little bit more of a romantic sense. I think someone wants to approach you and really be your man, be your king. But it's almost like they have to build up their confidence, be good enough, have enough money, and I do get the sense that they want to be close to your warmth. Is what I'm thinking. I think this person really might have built themselves up from nothing, but I'm getting a strong sense that they feel like they have one shot with you, and they have to make it the grand gesture, right? Like it has to be that moment that makes history. But this person is hecka strong, because you look at it, it's an emperor, right? It's an emperor approaching a queen. The other thing that I'm almost getting is that they almost seem over prepared. You see how they're wearing armor. The other thing is the emperor is Aries energy. Queen of Wands is usually Leo energy. And remember, we talked about a ram. If this is someone from your past, they have grown up. They've grown up. It's possible that maybe you had someone in and out of your life and you just weren't having it, and you evolved. What's the word? You ascended. You did your own thing. The other thing I get is that you're very successful on your own. I really get the sense like you're a spiritual teacher, because these are muses, right? These are entities that teach. And I think this person might be coming back and ready to be your emperor, but they feel like they have to come out of the cold. The other thing is, this person, if this is someone from your past that has been wishy-washy, when they come back, all of that in and out stuff is going to be a thing of the past. This person's no longer a knight, they're a king, they're an emperor. The other thing is that they really want to come out of the cold the thing is if you got away from this person because they weren't being consistent, they miss your warmth. And I also think that you give your warmth to the world. I think you give your warmth to others, and they're missing you. And they do. And when they come back, it's going to be no joke. They're going to come back as an emperor. They're going to be like, it's almost like I've got to be an emperor because this woman's not going to accept anything less. The other thing is that it can be a father figure or someone else in your life that you might have a little bit of separation from a father figure. So, that might be another meaning, is that, we may need to talk about, reconnecting with a father. Now, your oracle card, you got Eagle Spirit. And Eagle Spirit, it says Spirit has your back. And I think this is beautiful. Now, 23 equals to 5, which is change. But Eagle Spirit, I love it because the eagle also represents Emperor. I think the universe, and especially with the High Priestess, the universe is supporting you spiritually. And the one last way that I can read it is that maybe this is your journey. You've grown from being a page to a knight to a queen, and maybe you're the emperor. That's another thing, is that you're never going to feel, impoverished again, right? It's graduating to that place of strength, and I think this might be a spiritual journey that the universe is really guiding you on, because you are meant to be the queen. You're meant to be the emperor, right? And the emperor is in control of their own life. And you can definitely be a woman in that energy. If the other thing is, if that's your significator, you're strong. You're very strong, and it just means that you'll always have warmth in your life, right? The other thing is that you'll always have. The other thing I'm getting is you'll always have money. The other thing is that maybe you do work in a job that's not the traditional banker or finance. Maybe you do work in entertainment, or you work in teaching others. It's kind of saying that will always support you, because this eagle is wearing a crown. Right, so you will be in control, and you'll never be out in the cold. It's almost like if you have your own light inside of you. But wow, guys, all three of those were really strong reads, and I really loved that. I especially loved the last one. But I thank you so much for joining me. I do post another video, the weekly energy card reading, every Saturday. I hope you can join me.